Hey guys, so this is a really hard video for me to make because I really want to be careful about how I approach the topic. So number one, before I get started, I want to say I feel for everyone who is in these situations of lockdown, of stuff going around and getting sick and people who have passed away. My heart is very heavy for everyone, so I want to say that first and foremost. The other thing I want to say before I get into this video is this video is not going to be focusing on how to prevent getting the virus. It's not going to be about how we need to wash our hands and not touch our face and quarantine ourselves or whatever these things are, because we know the precautions already. We know how to prevent spreading disease and viruses and flus and all that stuff. So yeah, there's lots of information out there about that. What I want to focus on and what my business has always been mainly focused on is more mental health and balancing mental health in a world where there is a lot going on and there is really a lot of stress and a lot of emotions, and how do we process this and how do we cope? How do we stay grounded when the world around us is shifting and moving and it's just overwhelming? So yeah, that is where my focus is. Of course, physical health, being a yoga teacher, is also super important, and it's super important with hand in hand with mental health. We need to be holistically well, right? So we need to look at the whole picture. So that does come to play, but a lot of there's videos out there on how to stay healthy, right? So this video is for the empaths. This video is for the highly sensitive people. This video is for the people who are struggling with anxiety, with depression. This video is for the people who understand energy and who are having a really hard time processing the energy that is coming and being kind of thrown around. This video is for you. So first and foremost, you're not alone. I felt it yesterday. I don't know if anyone else felt it, but it was like everything was kind of putzing along, and then it was like this huge shift that happened, and it was really intense. And then all of a sudden, it was like this wave of just this panic and fear, and all of a sudden, yeah, you're absorbing it all, right? So as an empath, not only do you feel your own emotions very deeply, but you're feeling everybody else's emotions. So if everyone else is vibrating, you're going to pick up on that. It's very hard to process it, and it's very hard to protect yourself from it when it's all around you. So that's kind of the struggle that we have as empaths, and we kind of know that already. So what can we do? What can we do? How can we stay grounded in this kind of situation? Okay, first and foremost, you need to back away from social media. Just go to places that feel really positive and really uplifting, because there's lots of fear out there. There's lots of people that are posting things that don't have all the facts. There's lots of people everything that they're feeling, they're placing out into social media. So all that vibration, all that craziness is coming out. And when you're reading it and you're bombarded with it all day, all night, you are going to feel it, and you're not going to be able to process it. So taking a step back from social media, take a step back from watching the news all the time. And I'm not saying don't be aware of what's happening. I mean, you want to be aware, right? But we need to disconnect a little bit from the vibration that's happening, or else we're not going to stay grounded. And this will affect our anxiety, this will affect our depression, and it will affect our mental health. So take a step back from social media and really take it in doses and shut it off. Shut it off, take a step back. The other thing we need to do is we also need to really stay focused on how we are processing things, because at the end of the day, I'm a mom of 3 and I have my kids that are panicking. I need to stay grounded for them. panicking and stress is not going to help. It is going to break down your immune system. You're more likely to get sick from whatever, right? And we're just causing so much more. We're putting our health at risk, our physical health at risk by stressing, by overstressing. So you can be concerned. It's normal to be worried. It's normal to be concerned, but we need to stay grounded for not just ourselves and our own physical health, but also for our children. You know, we don't want to be feeding them more and more of this fear of like, I can't go outside, I can't be with my friends, I can't do anything, I need to lock myself away, because that's not a healthy way to exist, right? We have faced many other diseases and outbreaks and all sorts of things, and we have to take the precautions, but you know, freaking out about it is not productive in any way. So what I do is I'm very honest with my kids. I tell them that there is stuff going on, but you know what? We just stay safe and take the precautions that feel right for us, right? So like one precaution I would take is I'm not gonna go into Vancouver unless I have to, just because there's a lot of people there. And not only is there more chance of catching something, but there's also energetically you're picking up on everybody's stuff, right? So if you're in big crowds, and in groups, you're gonna pick up on people's stuff. Or you're in a city, you're gonna pick up on people's stuff. So if you're sensitive to those things, taking a step back. Now, if you live in the city and you can't really get out and that's where you live, then create a space in your house. Create a space in your house that is only for that calm, peaceful energy. Make sure that it's energetically, you sage it, you keep it in a great space with your crystals, with your music, whatever makes you feel best. Create that space. That's your safe space. So create a space. Nature is obviously huge. So if you're in the city and you can find a place that is in the forest, that's really comforting for people. That helps us process things. But I'd also like to encourage you to go to open spaces. So what happens is when we're taking on this buzzing energy, we feel closed in and we feel like we're holding it all inside, and it's almost like being claustrophobic. So what we need to do is we need to go to a place that's open and breathe. So if you live in the mountains, go to the top of a mountain and breathe. If you live by the ocean, go to the ocean and breathe. Just sit there and face the ocean and see the open ocean and breathe. If you are in a city, get out of the city for a break. You know, even if it's once a day, whatever, go to the river, go to somewhere where it's open. If you're in the prairies, go to an open field. We need to create some space for people like us that have this empathic nature, that have, you know, anxiety. We need to be able to breathe, and we can't breathe when we're feeling like we're closed in. So we need to create some space so that we can kind of open up and just be like, okay, I have some room here and I can breathe. I'm not suffocating. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I don't even know what number I'm on, but that was a really big one, is go to open spaces. Avoid crowds, because not only is it good for not catching anything, but it's also the energy that we're picking up on. Staying off of social media, cutting that out. Saging yourself regularly. I know that for some people, like this might seem odd, but just running that smoke around you really helps to clear this space. So I burn my own sage, the sage that I wrap myself and grow myself. Sage is really wonderful. Whatever incense, you can use any incense really, any herbs that you enjoy. Saging your space, your home. The other thing, if you don't like saging, you can use sage oil in a spray bottle with some water, and you can spray it around you, and that will just clear the space. The other thing is salt baths. Salt baths are so grounding. The minerals in there are going to relax your muscles. They're going to relax your nervous system, so you're not going to be in fight or flight. You'll be able to calm down. Plus, the warmth of the bath is very comforting and calming. So going and having salt baths just to ground yourself if you're having a really rough day and you're out there and there's just too much like craziness happening, coming in, going and having a salt bath, letting it kind of absorb and pull all of that out is really, 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 really helpful. I do it all the time. Yeah, so doing that really helps. The other thing you can look at, of course, Reiki, yoga, nature, all of that stuff we already know. Use the same tools that you've learned and bring it into your day-to-day, even more so now. So if it's one of the videos I did a while back is of a pranayama, where it's an alternate nose breathing exercise. Go look at that. It's very good for balancing. So if you're really out of whack and you're in this like fight or flight state, it will bring you into that calm by balancing the two sides. So doing something like that, breathing exercises, obviously meditation, but meditation's hard if you're in a fight or flight. Like, it's hard to just be like, shut it off and go into meditation. So if you can't do that, that's okay. Do a walking meditation. Do something where you're burning off some of that anxious energy. Go walk in an open field. Go walk along the beach. Go walk somewhere on the top of a mountain where there's air and there's space to breathe, and just kind of release that. So movement is really good too for this energy that we're experiencing. Moving it out is really helpful. So do some sort of physical activity. The other thing, I'm just looking at my notes down here, so if it looks like I'm looking down. Yeah, let's see. Oh, grounding yourself through your feet. So I was just talking about this in yoga today. Grounding yourself through your feet. So if you have a partner or somebody, or even if you have a tennis ball or something that you can put on your foot, of course, going into nature and taking your socks off and connecting to the earth will help you feel grounded, but also massaging the bottom of your feet. You have all of these pressure points, everything is on the bottom of your feet, all your fascia points. So if you're holding tension, we're gonna find release as soon as we massage the feet. So if you have a partner, switching off, if you're having a rough day, get them to massage your feet. Just get them to release some of that tension and just ground you back down. You're going to hit some of those pressure points even if you don't know anything about it, if that makes sense. So massaging your feet to ground you is really helpful as well. Obviously, hugging a tree is going to be grounding. Walking on with bare feet on the earth is really grounding. That can stay really helpful. That can be really helpful as well. So yeah, we talked about open spaces. We talked about staying away from crowds. We talked about limiting social media. We talked about massaging the feet, Reiki, so energy work. If you know it, you can do it on yourself. If you have a friend, let them do it on you, like switch services and stuff. Nature, salt baths, breathing exercises, and stay connected. Because as much as everyone's saying isolate yourself, isolating yourself is not good for your mental health. It's not. And especially people who don't have a family or don't have other people. Isolating yourself is going to be extremely depressing. It's not going to help depression. It's not going to help your anxiety. So stay connected. And like, what I mean by that is, like, even if you don't feel like you can go out into public, meet up with one friend for coffee, or go for a walk in nature, or call up your friend and talk on the phone, or whatever it is. Because if we disconnect, this is not going to serve our mental health at all. We are going to break down, and that when we come out of this on the other end, we're going to have a whole lot of very anxious, vibrating people who can't come out of that fight or flight. And we really need to get our bodies out of that fight or flight, or else, like I said, we're going to be more susceptible to picking up germs. We're going to be more susceptible to heart attacks. We're going to be more susceptible to all of these things that we're trying to prevent. So trying to stay as grounded and as calm as possible, with still being logical about how can we take the precautions that we need to, right? We need to have that balance. So yes, and that brings me to yoga classes. I my business, like I said, is based on mental health, and I've talked about this, and I'm taking it day by day right now with classes. I am going to still be running classes for this remainder of this month, the next 2 weeks. And I'm there basically to just be a place for you to come. If you're feeling stressed out and you need to just come and lay on your mat, and I can hold space for you to come into a calm environment, that's what I'm there for. I'm there for your mental health. If you don't feel comfortable coming to class and you want to have a session, just call me. Let's figure something out. I can come to your house. I would never teach if I'm sick, so that's first and foremost. Secondly, I do sanitize everything I use, so there doesn't have to be a worry with there. And thirdly, my classes are very small, so they're not huge classes like in, like in Vancouver City would be. So they're very small. I ask people, if you're not feeling well, please don't come to class. But that to me feels like kind of like an obvious thing. But I'm here for your guys' mental health. So if you need Reiki, if you need someone to chat with, if you need someone online to talk with, if you need me to come to your house and do a yoga class for you because you want yoga but you just can't make it because you're just too anxious about getting to class, that's fine too. We can make something work. So I'm going to continue to run my classes. I don't want to feed into this fear, even though I'm very conscious about what's happening and I'm very aware of what's happening. I don't want to work into that energy. So I'm just going to stay as rooted and calm as I can and offer what I offer, and people are welcome to come. And I'm just there. And if classes don't run and there's nobody, that's okay too. But I'm there if you need me. And we're just gonna take it day by day, and we'll see how the next couple weeks go and see how things unfold, and I'll make decisions accordingly, because of course I want to keep you guys safe, right? But I also think that our mental health is extremely important. Our physical health is, but definitely our mental health is super important, and being able to keep a good mental mindset in this chaos is really important, and it's very difficult. So let's support each other the best we can. So if you need anything, let me know. I will be there as best as I can. And yeah, that's all we can really do, guys. We just have to stick together. We got to make sure that we share. So don't be hoarding things. Make sure that we have stuff. If people need help, reach out. And as my friend said today in yoga class, create community. Like, we're still a community. We're still here for each other. So if there's anything I can do to help support you, let me know. And I'm going to keep just showing up and spreading the light and the love. And that's what I can do. So I'm just going to do what makes sense to me. All right. This is an extremely long video. I am so sorry, but there's so much to talk about, and I want to make sure that we feel all supported and understood, and I want to make sure that I'm as clear as possible so that we're not creating any sort of, buzzing that doesn't need to happen. Like I said, my purpose, my whole goal, and this is what I did with my students today, is my whole goal is to bring you out of fight or flight and just calm everything down, so that even if you have an hour of just peaceful calm, that's where we need to come from, right? Panic and fear is not going to make things better. All right. I think that's all for now, guys. I will be on here. I'll be videotaping. I'll try to, make sure that we're still spreading some good light, and hopes that we can all just breathe and relax a little bit. And if you're feeling it, you're not alone. I'm feeling it every day. So let's just try to process it the best we can. All right. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Deep breaths, guys. We're going to get through this. And yeah, we will talk really soon. Lots of love, everyone. I will see you next time.